Last Epoch is a game that gets better with every update. I'm really impressed by what the devs have managed to do within their early access and the amount of progress that they've put into the game in the past 2 years. And Sands of Majasa is no exception. It's launching on September 1st, offering new bases, multiple new and reworked skills for various characters, including the Necromancer and the Sentinel, some additional leveling and story content, and of course, changes to the empowered monolith system, specifically with a buff to blessings. So what am I most excited for? New builds to play. All of the new bases are endgame focused, meaning it's something that could push your character from, this almost worked, I can't quite get a good weapon that enables my build, to, oh yeah, poison daggers are totally a thing now. And that combined with the new and reworked skills, mean there's going to be a lot of new things to do, or new ways to play old builds. Warpath in particular is getting a pretty big rework, and Lunge is also changing quite a bit. When I play an action RPG, I really do play for the builds. My end game in most games is building different characters and crafting the items to do so. And while there isn't a crafting rework promised, I'm sure that all the skill changes are going to give me plenty to do, and possibly encourage me to try a class that I haven't before, and a playstyle that I haven't before, in the Necromancer and minions. Now, this is the part of a video where normally I thank my YouTube channel members and my patrons for their generous support, which helps me make videos like this one. But today I also wanted to highlight the fact that Nexus is having a huge promotion where they are essentially giving content creators their cut, which means if you haven't played Last Epoch yet, and you're looking at the Sands of Majasa patch saying this looks awesome, I need to get in on this, if you buy the game through my Nexus link, you will be supporting me very directly, and your support in buying just one game through my Nexus helps more than you watching the advertisements on every video I've ever made. Don't feel obligated to support, but if you want to, that is another avenue to do so. So now, let's get into the patch a little bit more and talk about some of the things I'm looking forward to. Starting with what I plan to play. In most games, I often play ranged builds and casters. So far, I haven't really played too many casters in Last Epoch, which means this time I'm going to jump in and try a Sorc. It's not one of the classes with new and reworked skills, but there is a really interesting wand base in the Coral Wand, and I feel like that could synergize very well with something like Lightning Blast. So my plan is to play Lightning Blast Sorc. If that doesn't work, I'm going to experiment with other skills, and if all that doesn't work, maybe I will try a Necromancer. Minions usually aren't my cup of tea, but with all the reworks, I'm at least willing to give it a shot. So far, my experience in Last Epoch has been exploring various rogue builds, Sentinel builds, and one rather unfortunate Acolyte attempt for something that really didn't quite work out the way I hoped it would. So I'm looking forward to being able to dive into the Sorc and try new things. Like with previous updates though, I'm probably not going to be going super hard, I'm only going to mess around with 1 or 2 characters, and that's because multiplayer isn't out yet. Speaking of which, they did release a dev blog talking about the progress of multiplayer mode. I'm very much looking forward to the launch of multiplayer in Last Epoch, especially the addition of trade and a proper economy. The real reason that I come back to Path of Exile league after league after league is the economy and the way I can leverage it to advance my character. Well-done economies in games are super fun because it makes you feel like the Wolf of Wall Street without having to break any laws and without having to put millions of dollars into potentially risky investments. Instead, you put a little bit of time into a game that pays it back with fun. Some of the progress they talked about was testing arena mode and optimization, which will reduce server overhead. Hopefully this translates into the game running more smoothly even before multiplayer is implemented, though I don't know too much about code, so I'm not sure how much it will transfer in a one-to-one way. I'm very much a fan of the fact that they're going to release multiplayer when it's ready, and not rushing it out with a specific timeline. Too many games feel like they are ruined by having to meet a deadline, so I really respect developers who are willing to risk the wrath of their fanbase to make sure something is done when it's truly done. One of my big complaints with Last Epoch as it exists is blessings are kind of a pain to farm. They're very random because certain blessings are really powerful, and a lot of the rest are really not worth your time. What I'm hoping from the blessing buffs they talked about in 0.8.3 is to bring them more in line, that you won't necessarily feel as obligated to farm for one specific blessing from certain timelines. Instead you'll have, alright, this is my first choice, but this is my second and third choice, and they're not as good. Ideally I'll want the best one, but I'll be happy with a second choice or a third choice. They haven't talked too much about this though, so I'm looking forward to the implementation and excited for what it could be. And while there is a lot more to go over, I wanted to quickly highlight one last thing before wrapping up this video, and that is the Javelin skill. Mostly because with D2R, a lot of games, including Path of Exile, have been taking elements such as Frozen Orb from Diablo 2 and putting them into their games. It's Eye of Winter. Now we've taken Javazon from D2 and put it into Last Epoch. While ultimately, I don't know if Javelin will be a good or bad skill. It certainly looks good, and Epoch Builds is already full on the Javelin hype train. I'm a little bit more cautious, and I will wait to see what happens. Hopefully it's good, and if it's not, it's still a cool Easter egg. Which, I guess, leads me into my question for the day. What are you looking forward to from Sands of Majasa? Are you hoping to achieve something specific in the new patch, or are you just going to look to jump in, explore things, maybe try Javelin, try some of the new things like Void Cleave or Multi-Strike, play Warpath again because you're a Warpath sim, or do you just want to see what the new chapters in the story add? As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below about which aspects of a patch you're most excited for and any specific plans that you have. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell, as I'm going to be playing the patch and sharing my experiences in future videos. Thank you for watching, and if you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. A special thanks to my YouTube channel members and patrons, whose generous support keeps me from needing to accept sketchy mobile game sponsorships. If you want the best way to keep up with my video releases and live streams, or maybe just hang out and chat with a bunch of like-minded people, be sure to join the Discord. You can find all these links down in the description below. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great day.